Our third webinar on connecting talks about connecting with our community and how we can use that to feel a real sense of belonging.
I think that it's been interesting to reflect on how we can create a sense of belonging in a virtual world. And definitely for me, I've noticed over the past year, that's really taken off because the opportunities for meeting in person have obviously really been diminished. But what's also happened is a whole nother world of possibility and opportunity has opened up because everyone has got so much more used to connecting in this virtual way. So we can think about how we connect online too, and the ways that our online personas offer us an opportunity to be part of a community too. I've had the chance to meet with people, from all over the world and share ideas in relation to psychology. And that helps me to feel in some way connected and a sense of belonging to something broader than maybe just my immediate network. But I think we can think about how we use social media too as a vehicle for connection. And it gets a lot of mixed press, I find, because some people find it really negative and maybe their feed is very skewed towards things that are quite triggering and quite, anxiety provoking. One of the things I've really tried to do is change my feed a little bit, curate my feed to make it feel that it's aligned with the things that matter to me. Now, some people might say that that's not very helpful because it means I'm not seeing different perspectives. And I think that's a really good argument too. But it depends on how you're using social media. For me, I'm using social media to connect, to share ideas, to learn things from others, to find this kind of virtual tribe, if you like. What we do know is that using social media in an active way is much better for our well-being than using it in a passive way. So if we're, you did that example of like just scrolling through, when you're kind of trying to be on your own, but actually you're, passively scrolling is not thought to be very helpful for us, right? So if you're going to be on social media, you got to get out there, you got to comment, and you can use this as an opportunity to up your 5-to-1 ratio, right? Can you put 5 positive comments out there and, and reflect on something good that's going down? And maybe through that, you'll start to find this tribe of people that help you with that sort of bigger sense of belonging in a virtual world. Whilst also spreading some kindness and the ripple effect that can have too. Connection doesn't necessarily always mean, I think, connection with other people though. And one of the really important areas that we've not touched on yet is the possibility of connecting with nature. And we know that there's so much science to support our beautiful relationship with nature and the way that green space, for example, changes how our brain functions. There's so much neuroscience to support this idea that being connected with nature is good for our well-being. But I think it goes beyond that. For some, particularly if you're experiencing loneliness or you can't be around those people that really matter to you right now, I think nature offers an opportunity for a different type of connection, to be inspired, to just get out and to see something different, to see the seasons changing, to see, we've got like birds nesting in the garden at the moment. And there's something about, I think, that kind of connection to nature that helps us to feel part of something bigger than ourselves, to recognize that we have a place in this really complex network of, other creatures, other species, but also an opportunity, I think, to be inspired and to experience a sense of wonder that can also help us to connect to. So I suppose I wanted to talk about this from that place of saying, if we can't connect with others right now, then connecting with nature, I think, is another good way forward. So in summary then, for our last part about, how we connect with our community, I think we have to sometimes find our tribe, hunt for our tribe, try and find those places where you belong, where you have a sense of belonging, where you feel that connection to a shared purpose. use your opportunities for social media to engage positively. Let it be a force for good if it can be. I know it's a good opportunity to share ideas, and obviously to connect with people who think differently to you, and that I think can be really powerful too. But I think if we're thinking about it in terms of a sense of belonging, sometimes it can be about finding those who share your values too. Tending and befriending, so being kind and supporting others, can help us to feel that we belong. And connecting with nature. So we are hardwired for connection, and when we strengthen our connection to one another, what we know is that we're healthier and we're more resilient, we're more productive, we're more creative, and ultimately we feel more fulfilled. It's worth really thinking about how our connections can support us, because I think, you know, to feel those things, to me, that's a pretty awesome list of outcomes. I'm just going to put the book references here, but I can make sure that they're shared elsewhere too, if anyone wants to read a bit more about relationships and understand some of the science behind them, or some of the good websites. I've popped those on this slide, but for those listening, I'll make sure that that gets shared as well. And please connect with me if you'd like to. I'm at Fincavallana on Twitter. I've got a website as well where you can find out more about the ways to connect with me, which is fincavallana.com. But I love it when people connect with me and share their thoughts and ideas too.
Oh, thanks.
Anything else that we want to reflect on?
Well, I was, you know, that final quote by Vivek Murphy, you know, who doesn't want to be healthier, fulfilled, productive, resilient, and creative? You know, if that's not persuasive enough, then I don't know what is. And I've sort of taken, you know, three things. I've taken lots more than three, but if I sort of reflect on three, the first about that starting with the self, it's no good if you haven't even got the pebble to begin with. Then nothing else is going to work. So really starting with yourself and listening to yourself. The second one about networks and building communities, and finding your tribe is super important. But I was going to reflect that you can also join a new tribe. But I've joined the dog community, and I know I've been trying to persuade you, Hazel, to get on board, because actually, you know, it's opened a whole new, you know, going for walks now. There's none of that sort of shifty looking down, or this is really weird, that, you know, that sometimes happens in British people are all a bit polite. Actually, now that the dog community are just such a wonderful, you know, breed of people, pardon the pun, you know, really everyone can stop, you know, stop and chat for 5 minutes. It's not odd to pat somebody else's dog, whereas obviously it would be very odd if you started patting a child. So that has just been a real eye-opener, and you're connecting with nature, and you know, it's been wonderful. So I suppose I was just thinking that if you don't have it, if you feel, oh, I haven't really got a thing, or haven't got, you know, there are always new ones to join. And then the final one would be, you've got to value this stuff. You know, this is all science-based. It's not airy-fairy like it might have been considered a few years ago. You know, you've outlined lots of the science there. So value it and prioritize it. And then it won't be long before you really start seeing the benefits to your well-being and your productivity and fulfillment and creativity and health. So yeah, I want to say thank you so much. I find that so useful, and thinking of them in those three buckets of yourself, your relationships, and your wider community was fantastic. So thank you, and I do hope next time you'll get that dog.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure being connected to you guys.
Lovely. Thanks, Hazel. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you found it useful, and just to remind you that the full presentation is available in the Be Well team.